Hello everybody and welcome to the penultimate round of the League Zero Super Formula Championship here in the final season of 2025. We are here at the Suzuka Invitational Grand Prix, sponsored by Ryan Thibault, who's in the session tonight and has just qualified, or at least at the moment is in 8th position here out on the circuit. It's one of our pair of one race evenings, a 1 hour time limit tonight rather than the normal 50 minutes we see for a long form race in our 2 race evenings. We had one at Imola earlier on in the season for race number 5 of the season, round 5, and Adam Merchant took victory on that occasion. He's back tonight, albeit with a distant hope now of winning the championship. He and 4 others rather are going to be gunning for that season's title in 2 weeks' time, after we've had our week off for Thanksgiving coming up next week. It's myself, Ian and Dim Biggles with you again for the penultimate time this season. Good to be alongside you again, Biggles. You were at the first one race evening. I unfortunately had to miss that one because I was in another country. But how was the Imola one race Grand Prix, and what are we going to see here at Suzuka as well? It's a challenging circuit to have an hour-long race at.
Yeah, it's not my birthday. GP was an interesting one at that. So. We shall see how this one pans out. I did enjoy it. Hope everybody out there also did watch it. If you haven't, go back and watch it. It was very, very interesting, because also a race of attrition, because obviously we don't have the 2 split races. So if you ding it all up, that's it. It's game over. You have to spend it on the damage clock or retire the car. So let's see how these gladiators tonight can handle that, as you said, before our break off of Thanksgiving, Murder Turkey Day, and then of course to upstate New York for Watkins Glen. But first of all, we were in the qualifying, and we shall also check out the standings and how they go, mate, because it's the Elliott and Elliott show up there.
It is. Elliott Rolls was gobsmacked to find that we'd worked out he'd be second in the championship after last week's madness at Montreal. He's up to second behind Elliott Court by 27 points, who needs to be ahead of everybody else by at least 45 points to seal the title tonight. That feels very, very unlikely, it must be said. For example, Elliott Rolls would only have to finish in the top 4. I say only, that could be quite difficult, but you get the idea. It wouldn't take a season best result from any of them to keep Court close enough going into the final 2 races. And as we saw last week at Montreal, anything can happen, because Court only picked up 4 points. And that has now become his drop round. Noddy ML is stayed third actually, 33 points back, with Adam Merchant down to 4th, Jen Callaway down to 5th as well. But good to see that all 5 of them are here, and 4 of the 5 are in the top 5 in this qualifying session at the moment. Further back than that, Fabian Sanchez, Finley Fitzsimmons, Antonio Bianchi, Shazzy Zuhair, Nicholas Isidro round out the top 10. In the teams, Black Squid Racing are only 8 points in front of MSR Purple. Black Squid Racing being Adam Merchant on his own, not on his own, that's unfair. Fabian Sanchez is with him as well, and MSR Purple of course being Elliott Rolls and Robert Nobles, sorry, not Robert Nobles, he's on MSR Green. Finley Fitzsimmons, who's in the other purple car, of course. They're very helpfully coloured this season though too, so close in the teams championship as well. It's been a qualifying session of changes, I've got to say. Elliott Court, just as I was talking there, has gone back to the top again with a 36-1 at the front of the field, only just in front of Adam Merchant, who's our reigning champion. This is Noddy ML coming into the final chicane right now as well. One of the big overtaking chances that you get around here at the Suzuka International Circuit. I'm sure we're going to see it used on many an occasion here tonight as ML comes up towards the start-finish line now, and he improves, but he actually stays in 5th place. Same for Elliott Rolls, who stays 7th. What about Adam Merchant here? Not gone faster in any of these sectors so far. I guess he's got to go over the line here with less than a minute to go and give it one more go at getting to that pole that Elliott Court currently holds.
And you'd wonder at the moment what Elliott Rolls is going to do there in P7. He's sitting in pit lane, so I don't think there's too much time for him to do anything at the moment with a few of the other drivers. Adam Merchant, the tied-on points team. Jaden Callaway's looking pretty quickly as well too. As you can see those middle second sector got a purple, but not personal best on the rest of it. So keep an eye on Callaway as he's coming around at the moment. Maybe got a little bit of a slipstream from his teammate, but navigating the course the final couple of corners. If we yank it around here, a bit of the kitty litter on the outside. Let's see what the time will be. There it is.
So Callaway to the top. Oh, goodness me. This is, again, a session that just keeps twisting and turning. And the first 35 is not going to be answered by Elliott Court, who's straight back to pit lane here. He has done for the session. Noddy ML will be next, followed by Adam Merchant. And Antonio Bianchi is not far away either. I think he got over the line in time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did, in fact. So he will be with us to one last lap time as well. Noddy ML's only got one personal best sector, though, and so this might not be too much of an improvement. It might, excuse me, might just be oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, Noddy.
Adam Merchant might take this one. Check this.
Let's hope he doesn't do that in the race. Goodness me. Adam Merchant then into the final chicane. Bit wide at that apex there. He has got a purple second last sector, but is it enough here for the reigning champion to take it over for his compatriot Jaden Callaway? I don't think it will be. He's going to come over the line and stay third, and it's up to Antonio Bianchi to do the last lap time. And in fact, Jaden Callaway has got one as well, of course, his teammate who's just up in front of him right now. These two could well be sharing the front row at the end of this lap time.
I'm sure Callaway will want to obviously maybe back up a little bit and see if he can give Lanchi a tow, because he doesn't need to worry about anybody else stealing his time apart from his teammate right now. That's what you want to do. You've got to help out your teammate. He's too far back to get that tow. Here we go. Let's see if we can navigate these corners a little bit better than Noddy did.
Let's see. He takes that tight line towards the start finish line. Callaway goes slightly quicker himself. What about Bianchi? Does he join him on the front row? No. He goes a bit quicker though, and he stays fourth. And that will be it, I think, for the session. I think Sajid Zuhair, despite being still out there, came across the line too late, and indeed is slow anyway, coming out of the second tag. So it's Callaway who takes pole. He's the only one of those five in the championship battle, by the way, who needs to gain points on Elliott Court tonight to still be involved in the championship fight. He cannot finish behind Court and still be involved in the championship. Those two things cannot coexist tonight. He has to finish ahead of the current championship leader, but he is the only one of those five who has that situation. It's a remarkable change to last season, isn't it? Where, yes, Noddy ML had a massive turnaround in a sense of he was leading by quite a long way and ended up losing by quite a long way in last season's championship to Adam Merchant, but we've got five involved in the championship fight with 9 rounds down. It's a remarkable season that we've had.
Yeah, I'm going to be absolutely looking forward to this, of course, with the one race remaining in Watkins Glen after our break. So we'll see. These drivers will certainly have time to reflect, won't they, on this race tonight to see what they can do potentially for the finale.
Here's the grid then for the only race of tonight, of course, in the Lou and Sue's Suzuka Invitational Grand Prix. It's Jaden Callaway on the pole ahead of championship leader Elliott Court. Adam Merchant is in third, and then the first non-championship contender Antonio Bianchi from fourth. Noddy ML and Philly Fitzsimmons are sharing row 3 with Elliott Rolls, the last of the championship contenders, down in 7th. He's alongside Sajid here in 8th position. Ryan Thibault and Jace Meyer round out the top 10 with Robert Nobles and Nick Peterson sharing row 6 behind them. 13th place goes to Xavier Soneve with Austin Thomas behind, an All-American row 8 with Arturo Mayorga and AJ Brenner. Ricardo Spalinas and Ricardo Espino, the two Mexicans, in 17th and 18th, with Gareth McAllister, the only Australian, rounding out this very international field in 19th position at the very back. Those are the final few grid spots to be taken up. Massive pressure on this race. Of course, Callaway's already taken 2 points with the pole position, and as we maybe not already mentioned at Biggles, it's not raining off the start, but there is reported before this race a 50% chance of rain here at Suzuka.
Yeah, Super Typhoon is lurking in the on the Pacific Ocean waters, so whether that'll hit. Actually, it almost did that in Formula 1 that time, 1 year, a Super Typhoon. But we'll see, potentially. Actually, they had to delay, that's right, Formula 1, I think by a day or something like that. But, yep, it's going to be lurking around there at the moment, but drivers won't have to think about that at this point. They're going to start with dry tyres, and let's see how they can go. Now, nerves of steel you're going to need here, because being a longer race tonight, you don't want to be binning it in the first lap.
Absolutely not. Everyone's gooded up then, and the lights are about to come on. 34 laps here tonight from Suzuka to set up a brilliant finale in a fortnight's time. We are underway here for 34 crucial laps in the context of this season. And Callaway's already chasing Corn across the road. Oh, he's forcing him off into the grass. And Elliott Court, the championship leader, backs out. He's got more to lose here. Jaden Callaway has to beat him tonight. And he certainly showed it there. A big slide meantime in the background. As somebody goes off, it's not one of the championship contenders, though, I don't think. Elliott Rolls makes it one places. All of the others stay where they are. 5 of the championship contenders in the top 6 as they come through the S's for the first time.
A couple of black flags that are showing there at the moment there from Thomas and Mayoga. So not quite sure exactly what happened there, but wow, talking about forcing somebody off into the grass, isn't it? Thought it could have turned out to be a big accident early stages, but thankfully everybody is pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, that's good news off this start as they come down in towards the hairpin for the very first time. It's Jaden Callaway who leads ahead of Elliott Court, then Adam Merchant, Antonio Bianchi, Nodiamo, and Elliott Rolls the top 6. Finley Fitzsimmons down to 7th. We've got a spinner out of the final hairpin. That is Austin Thomas, who has gone from 14th to 19th and last in that one spin. Down the inside for on the outside rather for Robert Nobles, I think, here as they go side by side. No, he's on the inside there. Sorry, AJ Brenner on the outside, and Nobles goes for a spin this time. The MSR Green driver spinning out a spoon curve, one of the difficult ones around this circuit.
That's another one that's cold tyres in the first lap, no doubt. Look at the speed difference for Brian coming through there at the moment. So just from Nick Peterson, I think it was. Who saw Sajay? It was quite crazy. It was Nick, actually.
Here comes Peterson on the way down the hill, and rather cleverly he's not used any push to pass yet, which is allowing him to have an advantage over the rest. To be fair, neither has Thibaut, but he's just decided not to use it right now as Peterson goes round the outside and up into ninth position. Nicely done, and that push to pass and overtake button is going to be a big story tonight because this is a longer lap. You can use it lap after lap after lap, but there are also many more straight sections here at Suzuka than what we've seen in recent weeks, which is going to mean they're going to have to manage it a little bit more as Elliott Rolls gets out the way for his non-championship contending teammate.
Yeah, he made a mistake through those sweeping corners, of course, so there's those notorious S's here at Suzuka, and he just figured rather than holding up his teammate, he's been released, so Fitzsimmons can go move on up there and try to attack Noddy. That's in P5.
Yeah, slightly surprising, but as you say, if there's a mistake there, then Rolls just moves over for Fitzsimmons, who might be able to help him a little bit later on in the race. But it's a down one place again there for Elliott Rolls. By the way, for 7th place, only 16 points scored tonight compared to 45 for the win. That's a big, big difference, and Callaway would certainly overhaul Elliott Rolls in the championship if that were remain the result, but as we know, there is a very, very long way to go. Xavier Seneb just in behind Ricardo Espino here for 15th place. Both Mexican drivers actually have made their way up through the field here nicely. Belenes and Espino up to 14th and 15th, staying out of trouble on this opening lap. Seems to have been the key, especially a little bit further back on this track. That was close. Wow. Thibaut, the race sponsor, just holding off AJ Brenner there into the final chicane.
And they're both he was with that lovely livery as well too, from the old Lotus livery days that Kimi Raikkonen used to be in that car. And check this out. I just thought this car looked very similar to the F1 movie car for a second on the inside there. Whoa, that's AJ Brenner, and he just had a blink moment. And whatever the team that Brad Pitt was driving for, I haven't actually seen the movie just yet. I started watching it the other day and
No,
finished it.
Neither right.
But, yeah. So, anyway, it's similar, but it's not the same.
I must admit, I don't like sports films particularly.
You watch boring Test cricket, so but you've got plenty of free time.
Not a single person watching this will understand what that even is, I would imagine, given the time zone, but anyway, that's separate. Sports films are just sport, but worse done. You might as well watch the real thing. Anyway, that's off topic majorly. Here's Jaden Callaway, at the front of the race, ahead of Elliott Court and Adam Merchant. This is a high pace they're setting at the front of the field, by the way. My goodness, 36.7 last time round from Callaway, and a 0.8 and a 0.8 from Court and Merchant respectively as well. They're staying in close at the moment. They're keeping Callaway honest, but so far no challenges at overtaking, which is the main thing really when you're challenging for the lead here. Callaway hasn't been touched yet in the first 3 laps of this race,
and they're going to be more importantly conserving that overtake button, because JT's out there watching it. What do you guys think? Jaden has unwashed himself in case. Jaden
nice.
Callaway. Well, he just set the fastest time at the moment too to try to build that close to that 1 second gap. Almost within DRS range. Don't need to worry about that because we've got that push to pass button to use any time you want, but it's not going to recharge, my friend. Once it's burnt, it's burnt.
Yep, and you've got just over 3 minutes to use as well, which in an hour, well, this race isn't going to be an hour unless it really rains quite soon, but yes, it can drain away very, very quickly indeed. Just a couple of the key facts, by the way, tonight before it gets properly loud later on in the race. As I mentioned, the 1 hour time limit tonight is because of a slightly longer 34 lap single race tonight. There is a 50% chance of rain, and that very much affects how many stops there's going to be. Likely one stop, especially if it rains, with fuel limited to 40% of the maximum capacity you can get in one of these super formulas, but it could be 2 stops, especially if it stays dry. So we'll see whether there is any fuel saving going on, and maybe it's not all panic stations for those who are not in the top 3 at the moment, because maybe they're saving a little bit more fuel compared to some of the others in the field.
That's right, and I believe we got some of those race notes to say that the fuel limited is to 40% capacity, as Fitzsimmons was showing his nose to Noddy ML there. Just briefly, he's keeping Elliott Rolls with him just a little bit further down the road. That's good for the teammates. But here we go, down the main straight, using that push to pass. You see it flashing. Where's Noddy going to go to defend?
And he's not going to have anything to defend with here. He lets Fitzsimmons through on the inside effectively. And Noddy ML is down to 6th. Fitzsimmons always looked good early on here, I've got to say. And he's making up places early on in this race. Rolls not quite able to stay with them. Bianchi's not that far away from them either, though. They're creating a bit of a gap in front, which is helping his teammate Jaden Callaway, although I'm not sure that is the primary aim of his pace at the moment. I think Fitzsimmons, to be honest, in that group just looks quicker than the rest at this stage.
He does. He does. He's going to be very closely on the back there of the boss man, Antonio, very soon. There he is. But once again, some of these drivers may not be using that overtake button. Oh, a little bit of a lock-up, hey. Might not, Fitzsimmons might not even need to use this overtake button to get past if we can get a good exit here.
It's a long run down here. You don't think of this as a straight towards Spoon because it isn't straight, but it's a long flat-out section that could be used for slipstream and that overtake button to get down the inside by the time you get to that long left-hander. But no, Fitzsimmons still on the cooldown period, I think, here with the orange flashing, yellow flash. No, what colour's that? Purple. Flashing lights on the steering wheel there, just indicating that he's in a cooldown period still. And so is Bianchi actually, so he'll be pleased about that. But it might just turn off through this chicane here. He might just get some charge back again in time for the front straight. Let's see. Yes. No, not quite yet. He's going to have to do this the old-fashioned way, it looks like, as he comes on towards the straight here now. And Bianchi goes slightly defensive towards the middle of the road. Fitzsimmons going to try and get somewhere.
My iRacing's just crashed. I've never had that happen before, so we'll try to get the pictures up again as quickly as possible. We're still streaming. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't know what happened there at all. The timing froze and everything. But yeah, Fitzsimmons got very, very close to Antonio Bianchi there. He looked like to me that he was going to go on straight past, actually. But yes, we'll see whether he does in a moment. Just to give you an idea, by the way, as to where everybody would be after in terms of the championship if the results were to hold. See Callaway taking the most points of everybody, but Elliott Court being right behind him would only lose 10 points at the moment, not taking into account fastest lap yet, because that's very likely to be taken very late on in the race when people are burning their last of their push to passes. Let's call it 10 points. That would put Callaway at 37 behind, but Court would extend his gap over everybody else. Merchant would have another 7 points added to that tally there, 42 points back he would be. Noddy ML down in 6th place would lose even more. That would be 18 points lost, which would put him out of championship contention. And Elliott Rolls with 7th place would lose 21 points, which would also put him out of championship contention as well. So that is the situation. Only Merchant and Callaway would stay involved, and Callaway would by far be not by far, but he would be the closest at just 37 points away if the race were to end right now, of course, and that takes out of account the fastest lap point, which also would, by the way, be going to Jaden Calloway if the race were to end right now as well. So that would be a point closer even, but that would certainly put Court in the advantageous position. It's very much been a story of consistency, as you can see from that sheet there. He's only won once, but he's been in the top 10 13 times and the top 5 10 times. 13 times top 10, by the way, is more than anybody, tied most with Elliot Rolls and also Saji Zuhair as well, who has managed to do it 13 times in this race. Fitzsimmons did indeed get past Bianchi. That's the only positional change that you've missed while we've been away. And look at Fitzsimmons go. Just in the lap that we've been away, he's been able to get past. And look at the gap he's already got over Bianchi as well. He is clearly very quick at the moment.
Yeah, his last lap with the overtake part, it was 37.33, but the other drivers up front are all lapping in the 36s. But now he's at the clear air. We can see what he's going to be capable of. And up the road, Elliot Court. Well, he's... the gap actually to our race lead is almost 1.2 seconds now, but Adam Merchant still keeping Court at bay here at the moment. I do apologise, pitchers. I've never actually ever had an iRacing crash, I think, ever in a broadcast. So it's our first time that's happened. But we got the pitchers back. We didn't miss too much. We're still racing.
We are. Pushing on past lap 7 now of this race. 27 to go here tonight. The magic number you're looking for a one-stop, by the way, at exactly half distance would be in 10 laps time from now. So 17 laps indeed into this race. Elliot Rolls still stuck at the back of this group, and you do wonder what he could or should be doing at this stage to try and advance his position, or whether he's completely content to sit in this place because he is saving fuel at the back of the group. I'm not sure which is probably the case at the moment, to be honest.
Ricardo Espino having a little bit of a moment. He'll get overtaken by Arturo, and he'll be dropping to the last place of this one, as Austin Thomas is retired from this race, I believe. So that's what you have remaining at this point. Still plenty of time to go, 27 odd laps. This is where the little bottleneck's starting to work, isn't it? Elliot Rolls starting to put some pressure on it now. I mean, he's in the same car as his teammate. Well, they're in the same car anyway, but let's just say because of the same livery of his teammate Fitzsimmons has made those gains up the road. So let's see what Elliot Rolls can do. That's very wide too from Noddy.
That is wide. Callaway actually did that the previous lap as well, but he's cleaned it up in the last lap, and he's now got a seconds gap for the first time. And there goes Rolls on the push to pass for the first time tonight. You can see some of those 200 seconds now just ticking away, but I must admit, I'm not entirely sure why he's chosen now. I guess this is the closest point he's ever been to Noddy Amel so far in this race. And Noddy's going slowly on the way to the chicane. Rolls looking to make that move down the inside, but can't. And he's got to try this now, because Amel, I think, has taken the push to pass off, and he's trying to just back away there from Bianchi. He was just lifting off towards, in fact, he was never on it, actually. He was just a long way in front, was Amel, compared to Elliot Rolls. So Noddy Amel comfortable, and Rolls can't get through. You get the feeling he just wanted to there, but had to back away in the end.
I thought he was going to send it there for a second. I thought that's too far back, mate. That'll be game over for one of those drivers, if not both of them. But cleverly enough backed off, as he realises he's still got more time on his side. And we'll expect to see that first round of pit stops that you said, and that's something that they're going to be stretching out. We'll keep an eye on the weather too, because you can see it's very overcast. But so far, still classed as dry and 33 degrees Celsius track temperature.
Yeah, still absolutely bone dry. And I imagine everybody's pleased about that. We've seen, is it twice already we've seen rain this season at Hockenheim and at Spa. Twice in 3 weeks we saw it. This will be the third time in 5 weeks. Oh, this is Espino's spin, by the way, a couple of moments ago. Ends up right on the apex.
Lucky.
Yeah, a little bit fortunate. He wasn't cleaned up there, but he ends up off the circuit and all okay in the end. Yeah, I mean, we've seen in the past, haven't we, in these cars, that even very, very light rain can affect these cars quite badly, and this is a technical circuit enough without the moisture to add as well.
Absolutely. And Ricardo, unfortunately, is not having the best of luck. He's had a couple of those spins earlier. Adam Merchant had gone off track, but only briefly there for about a second, so it hasn't cost him too much. You can afford to get away with that, Suzuka. You know, it's really a motorbike track more than anything, but of course I do a lot of motor racing here. There's all these sweeping corners, you know. Perfect for MotoGP racing.
Yeah, it certainly is. Oh, that's just off track, sorry, for Amel and Rolls, just following one another. This Pickett following one another. Gareth McAllister following Seneve through the final chicane at the moment and looking maybe for a move. He's got the push to pass available if he wants to use it on the way into turn 1, but he isn't going to. And so just sticks behind for now in 15th position in towards turn number 1. And he's content at the moment. It very much feels like that actually in this long race at the moment, that everybody's sort of content with where they are, and they've recognise the need for a little bit of fuel saving at this stage in the race as well.
Yeah, I think because they're wise on that one. You can see a couple of mistakes there for Xavier creeping in a little bit, but at the moment Gareth is not ready to completely punish him. At this point he's content to sit back. There it is. Underneath, of course, our figure 8. Not many figure 8 tracks really left on the calendar. Certainly not many of them in iRacing, and goes very wide, and that will compromise his eggs a little bit here as Xavier's trying to defend off the Aussie.
He'll get right into the slipstream here on the way towards Spoon Curve. And will he get through? No. He, again, lifts off a long way. You do a lot of fuel saving when you're sat behind somebody like this, but the worry for someone like McAllister is going to be that he's actually faster than the two in front of him, and he's not getting the benefits of that at the moment. But let's see. Now he's going to try and use it into the slipstream before 130R. He's on the push to pass. Seneve and he lifts off actually to give Seneve a lot of space there on the outside line. He's still on the push to pass. He hasn't taken it off yet, so he's okay. And now it's a bit deep from Seneve. Here comes McAllister on the exit. Careful on the traction here. It's a difficult zone, especially when you've got that extra bit of power as he's using right now. Outside line, he'll roar through. He'll get the distant toe as well from Collis Balinas. And through goes Gareth McAllister, surely. He's got good legs though on the straight though as Seneve, and round the outside goes the Australian. He's through into 14th place. That was quite a long-winded and drawn-out move, but he's finally got through.
And now Xavier has to think about Robert on a rampage behind him as well too, so he might end up losing 2 places in a space of 1 lap almost. Let's see. He's trying to hold on. Good work there for Gareth. He had to go around the outside of course and get and trust in the car to commit to the corners and not run it out too wide. It wasn't the case, and he got himself up 5 places now, P14.
Yep, nicely done from the very back of the field. Maybe 2 retirements actually so far. We've already got Austin Thomas seems to have disconnected. Ricardo Espino has been in the pit lane for quite some time. As we know, there's no fast repairs in this series, no way of getting back.
So crash, unfortunately. This might be the reason why he's in. This might be a bit of damage, not just a spin, but we'll see, because he's in pit road right now on the damage clock. Oh, that's another spin there as well.
It's almost a carbon copy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost a replay of the replay. But he's obviously, it's not obviously not, because he's not landed quite in the same place. But yes, here comes Nobles meantime. Not a good couple of laps for Xavier Seneve here, who's going to be done at 130R twice. But look at that run around the outside through that fast left-hander. You don't see that very often at all. In towards the final chicane, and Seneve stays in front of Nobles. Yeah, not sure what it is with the outside line at 130R actually, but it seems to be working quite well.
And McAllister's looking to make another move there on the Mexican of Carlos up the road. He's using a little bit of his push to pass, no doubt, or the cool down from it. And you see those clouds are looming over at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that weather. We're not even halfway through the race yet, but we are approaching it pretty quickly.
Yeah, we are. Still nobody's had to dive for the pit lane, so it's not obvious that it's going to be a 2-stop race because no one's got anywhere near it. I mean, if you'd have already had to pit before 12 laps complete, as we're about to complete now, you'd be nervous about having to make a 3rd stop, which is obviously not going to be the case at tonight. We're expecting to see the pit stops happen at some point throughout the next 5 laps. That goes for everybody. Elliot Court gets quite close to Jaden Callaway now as well at the very front of the field. And so that's the closest it's been for a while. Adam Merchant just about 2.5 seconds further away as McAllister continues his romp through the field. Getting past Balinas? No, he won't do that just yet. Through in towards Spoon Curve. Court, though, does get close. He's at the fastest lap of the race, and he's right on the race leader now.
Yep, there he is. So just he shaved almost half a second out of him in that last lap. So Court's turned up the power here for the DDK ex-TH Jordan entry.
Just wonder whether he's been holding something back early on in this first part of the race, and whether that means he's going to be unleashing that through the remainder of this race now in the last 2/3 as Elliott Court gets right into the slipstream now of Jaden Callaway at the front of this field. And Adam Merchant just hangs 2.5 or so seconds back in third position through Spoon Curve. A little bit wider for Court actually as he opens this one out a little bit. Off track for Merchant as well. There's a good exit from Callaway, but now he's on the push to pass here, Court. He's looking to push on now, and he wants to get past Callaway, it looks to me. He's getting close towards 130R. Callaway will be looking in his mirrors. He's not alongside by the time they get to the fast left-hander, but he'll be alongside by the time they get to the chicane. The championship leader looking for the race lead here in Suzuka. Round the outside he goes. Oh, and he's got the lead as well. Outside of the first part, gets the inside for the second, and he's got this race lead. Jaden Callaway is right in behind him, not responding with any push to pass of his own. Court is going to be using his in defence, but it might be in vain. He's going to take it off surely in towards turn 1 as Callaway gets to the outside, but no, we've got a new race leader, and Elliott Court takes this race lead away from Jaden Callaway at the front of this field, utilising that push to pass smartly, and he will now lead the field and he can show us his speed.
Yeah, we got Pitt Simmons that come into pit road and Elliott Rolls, so their teammates have elected to go down there at almost a similar time there, so we'll see how that pans out for them. Who and the rest of the drivers start coming in will be the question. And how far can Elliott Court go up the road there? He's going to be loving that, knowing Elliott Rolls was further down the field as well too. Now Elliott Rolls is even further after those pit stops, but how will that undercut pay off for these drivers?
Yeah, we will see. Because clearly it's not going to be a one-stop race for them, you would imagine. 3 laps to go until we get to halfway. There's the conditions again. Still not a drop of rain on the circuit. And as we get further on into this race in the post-half distance, I'd imagine there isn't going to be any. But, it's still very cloudy, so you can never write it off. Court using still in the cool-down period there. Not using any push to pass, though, Callaway in response here, which is very interesting. You could be forgiven for trying to get that lead straight back again, but I think Callaway is quite happy to be in second place for a little while here, and he might well just sit here for the moment. We know he doesn't really use his push to pass early, does he?
No.
And so that might be what's going on a little bit here. He might be conserving that, and he just seems to unleash it all at the end of the race, and I think he's very much doing that again here.
Yeah, well, you look at it, he's within that slipstream, so he's still getting that nice little toe, as you can clearly see down that main straightaway, going right up to the back of Elliott. This is when you've got to be absolutely precise through these S's. You just go off that line just a little bit, like we saw actually with Elliott Rolls, and he had to let Fitzsimmons through. It's going to cost him too much time to fall back. Back marker in play now too. Elliott Court has to navigate past pretty quickly, which he does.
Oh, and wide. Oh, well, that's one way. Ballina's off the road, and indeed back to pit lane as well, along with Espino, and there's no front end on that car anymore. So that's the end of that. Carlos Ballina's just broke a bit too deep, and there you go.
I think he might have got thrown off by them coming pretty quickly, didn't he? And then he probably thought, okay, I'm going to try to get out of the way, and obviously went out into the gravel, and then couldn't stop the car in time and straight in the fence. Yeah,
that's probably what happened there. Callaway still not using push to pass here, even in a glaring opportunity here to try and take a bit of a lead again. Get in front of Elliott Court. He's just not wanting to. He's clearly got some good speed though, and even despite not using any extra power, he's on the outside line into the chicane. That's the position that Elliott Court took the race lead off, of course, before. He's going to get a great run here onto the front straight, unless they're coming in.
They're coming in.
They're coming into the pit lane together.
Yeah.
19 laps to go. First stop of the afternoon, and the two leaders are in at the same time.
Going to bring Adam Merchant to the top there. Lianchi should pass them, and Noddy, you would imagine they're coming around there now. Yep, but actually, Antonio comes into pit road. This is going to be a nice little battle between these two in the pit road, isn't it? Oh, and it's going to be a little bit of a problem, more for Callaway, of course, because he had to go through the ghosted car.
And they they leave almost exactly as they entered there. Bianchi also in with Thibaut and Brenner, but look at that, some of the other championship contenders, Merchant and ML, carrying on. Elliott Rolls has already been into pit lane on lap 13. He is still behind Finley Fitzsimmons, as you would expect, despite having a slightly shorter stop. Bianchi's going to be quite close to, not that close actually, 2 seconds just about. Yeah. Bianchi still behind. Fitzsimmons at the moment. So it's pretty much as you were after those first pit stops, but can Merchant or ML go long enough here to make this race on just the one pit stop?
That's a strategy you might want to be thinking of, isn't it? Because how else are they going to get... Clearly, the pace that they had wasn't there at the start of this race. If they were fuel saving, no doubt that's probably one of the reasons why. So they just got to see about this alternative strategy, see if it's going to pay out for them. There's Merchant there. You got 10 seconds down the road, you'll see Noddy. And then, of course, our two leaders going into this one, Elliott Court and Callaway, they've taken that pit stop so they can just go and absolutely just hit that load pedal and burn as much gasoline as you want. Oh, Merchant's in, but so I'll throw that theory out. Or will Noddy stay
Yeah,
out?
so Merchant isn't. What about ML? He's quite a long way further behind, and he is going for this.
Yeah.
Oh, what a situation we've got. Noddy ML, I think, is going for the one-stop strategy. Now, that falls apart a little bit if it rains, of course, because they would have to stop twice, and that's not really ideal. Anyway, because he's fuel saved this much, and then he would have to stop it, of course, for the tyres I'm talking about in that scenario, but he clearly believes it isn't going to rain, and I think he's probably right. So Heron Peterson also into pit lane here, still waiting for also Gareth McAllister and Arturo Mayorga to come into pit lane, but they're not contenders for the race lead. What's gone on for Callaway here?
Yeah, he got very close for an attack there in court and had to back out of it completely and just throw him off, and now dropped, 1.5 seconds to court.
Yeah, that's quite a big gap, and he's got good speed as Callaway, so you wouldn't worry too much about him regaining all that time, but it's obviously time he would rather just have rather than have to regain again, as Bianchi here gets in close with Finley Fitzsimmons. Again, a lot of waiting around in this group at the moment, I've got to say, and we know now it's not for fuel saving. Only Noddy ML has been fuel saving, really.
Well, and Gareth, he's up now to P8, believe it or not. Behind that packet is Saw. So he's looking at doing that one-stop strategy. We'll see how it pans out. Yep, the three here. I wonder if this fighting between Fitzsimmons, or is this maybe strategy as well, too, from Fitzsimmons to say, okay, let's bring in Antonio so Elliott Rolls can look at getting an OT on him. Oh, Noddy's in.
Here comes Noddy ML.
It should be enough, shouldn't it? If he fuels up to go to the end. It'd be interesting because it's over 50% of the way through the race. And it's a 40% tank that they're allowed to fill up.
Yeah, he's got to do that again, though, and you wonder how much pace he's been taking off of that to try and make it to the 17 laps. And that will be my fear. Noddy ML will get out of the pit lane, probably behind these guys, Sproles and Bianchi, behind
actually
Fitzsimmons.
in front.
Will it be in front, actually?
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, he's just in the inside here, Fitzsimmons, and he's got him. Fitzsimmons round the outside, though. He's up to speed and he's warm. And ML isn't, of course. Antonio Bianchi the same, as he comes up the inside and towards the S's here. Noddy ML right back to where he was before. Elliott Rolls was 7th with ML in 6th, so they're exactly as they were before. But ML would maybe have liked the clean air. Maybe he would prefer the slipstream that he's now going to get from Bianchi and Fitzsimmons ahead.
Is that close or what? I mean, they had to pounce on ML, didn't it? Because they knew that he didn't have the tyres up a temperature, and you've got to attack him immediately out of the pit road. I'd have to say, pretty well job for Noddy having to get under that extreme pressure and have to get that car up to full speed there to hold off. So obviously, both Fitzsimmons and Antonio did, but now he's got to try to defend against Elliott Rolls. But if he's getting that groove there, he should be able to keep with this nice little four-way fight.
I must say I'm surprised that Rolls couldn't replicate what Noddy ML just did there in terms of fuel. I really am, because the way he's been sort of speed-wise, you'd think he'd be able to push on, and now he'd think he wants to hit. He's going to get past ML. Now he realises what the situation is, where ML's going to be not stopping again, and he will be. ML's going to be fine to tuck in here, but Rolls has to get past, and he might even try and get past Bianchi all in one go here on the way towards the final chicane. He's not going to be quite close enough to do that, I don't think. This time around, but he might keep the button on, has he? Yes, and Bianchi has got it available and he's going to use it. He doesn't want to give this place up just yet, but Elliott Rolls might make him as he goes to the outside. He can't swoop back to the inside again because the pit wall is still there. He just claws his way alongside here with a better exit as Rolls. He tries to squeeze him into turn 1. Oh, and he gets a bit of a snap. He just saves it though, and Bianchi saves 5th position. He's still in front of Elliott Rolls.
Fantastic racing, isn't it? It goes to show it's not absolutely easy to overtake, especially when the other drivers are are aware of the situation and can use that push to pass to defend against. That's why we love it. Bringing Noddy back into play as well too. He's gonna hang with this group, but once again, on that different strategy, he doesn't necessarily need to overtake them because he will when they head down to pit road later.
Well,
we assume anyway. If he
yeah, of course. Everything's unknown at the moment. Rolls is still on the button here, by the way. He's using a lot of seconds at this stage in the race, which shows you just how important he feels this is to get past Bianchi at this stage in the race and get with Fitzsimmons and maybe start to run with him here. And this is an unusual place to use the button as well, so he's going to surprise Bianchi by coming up to the left-hand side of him here. Into Spoon Curve. Oh, there's contact! There was always going to be a fast entry into Spoon Curve, and Bianchi goes on a big slide. He saves it. He's back on the straight and narrow again, but there was definitely contact there for 5th position.
Yeah, it was a very unusual place to use it, exactly as you said. That's would you have enough time? That's just very interesting. So he runs wide here, so he's already down on the speed a little bit as the chopper goes under, and then you're going to have a look at Elliott. So here it is. This is not too far back here, is it? Coming up.
No, this is okay. Yep. Yeah. And I mean, he's already over. I guess we're over halfway through the race, but he's well over halfway through his seconds. And here he comes on the inside. Now, does he stick to the inside here enough to... Ooh. Oh, there's a bit of net code there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the connection across water has very much let us down there. And I don't think either of them really did anything wrong, actually.
Yeah, you got to go. Well, Senna would say, if gap car, you've got to go for it. You're no longer a racing driver if you don't go for those gaps and the opportunities you can see, and a different place of an overtaking opportunity so far that hasn't really paid off. I think Gareth McAllister, he eventually did come in. I think he did come in on that lap 17 as well. Same one as Noddy comes back out into P12. Yep. He's still the biggest gainer in this race, up 7 places. I'll keep an eye out. But so far, Elliott Court and Callaway still within about 1.2 seconds between them.
Robin Owens, by the way, further down, did 18 laps. It's been brought to my attention by looking through the timing screen. So, yeah, that's highly unusual. However, unfortunately, he's a lap down, so it's not really going to play a massive role in this race. Still 16 in this race.
I think that might have been one of the reasons of something happened here anyway.
Right. It has been in twice. Yeah, you're right.
That's a bit wide. And thankfully out of the fence.
Whoa! Don't rejoin the circuit like that. For the kids home at watching. Yeah. Dear me, don't do that. That's not quite ideal. But there you go. Spins across the top, and there you have it. So, closest battle on the circuit is between these two, Rolls and ML. As it stands, Elliott Rolls would still be losing. Well, it'd be more than that actually now, because Elliott Court's leading 23 points, which would put him out of championship contending position. I mean, when we were speaking to him last week, Rolls said he was very surprised that he was even involved in second place in the championship. So I don't think he'll be too heartbroken about that, but it's got to be disappointing to see that taken away. And this is a big win for Elliott Court if he can go on and take this from here.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, those championship standings there going into tonight's race. Well, you think as well too, Rolls, he's got to be working on keeping Merchant, Callaway and Noddy behind him in the championship too, so he can get max amount of points. Unfortunately, from tonight, he does have Callaway and Merchant ahead of him for now, so that might flip things around by the end of this race in the championship. But Elliott Court's going to do everything he needs to do to win the championship, and at the moment he's doing everything he can by leading this race.
Yeah, and I think it would be enough actually for the title as it stands. I didn't think he would be in a situation to do that tonight, but I think he is, unless Callaway beats him in this race, in which case that brings Merchant into play as well. Merchant losing 15 points right now would be too many as well. That would be 50 points deficit at the end of this race.
So, Elliott Rolls and Fitzsimmons in again, exactly like they did last time. Teammates are coming in together. For the final time this evening, you would imagine for these drivers, unless of course we have a super typhoon that kicks in.
Stops too.
Yeah.
So 4 tyres.
Yeah, it would be punishing, wouldn't it? This circuit is a bit punishing now. See, they can get out ahead. Fitzsimmons will, but Rolls like it's stuck right in the middle here, Sajay and AJ.
Yeah, that's not ideal. And AJ's going to get straight past here, AJ Brenner, because the slightly cold tyres, Roll's not quite up to speed, and so, yeah, that's very awkward. I think the two of the teammates there wanted to come in together so they could run some good speed, sort of, out of the traffic, but they've disastrously miscalculated that, because Elliot Rolls finding himself behind those two is going to do the opposite of what they were hoping. It's going to absolutely slow them down.
That's why pit stops are crucially important. Oh, and it's going to slow him down even more. He's just going off the track as well too for Rolls. He's got to be under a bit of pressure there from Nick Peterson now, because Nick's got some speed and Elliot Rolls has got a whole bunch of unwanted stuff on his sticky tyres. You can see him sliding a little bit too on the exit.
This is not ideal at all. If Elliot Court were to win the race, as I mentioned before, he's got to be in the top 4 as Elliot Rolls to stay in championship contention. It's got to be second for Adam Merchant as well, I think, the way it is at the moment. It would have to be, and Nottingham L would probably have to be on the podium, so it's looking difficult, looking very, very tricky for the top guys at the moment, as Elliot Court continues to dominate at this stage in the race anyway, from the rest of the field. Having said that, Callaway has drawn him back in again. Less than a second between the top 2 at this stage in the race.
Yeah, I wonder if it's all about saving that push to pass, remember, potentially to attack on the dying stages of this race. Probably the last couple of laps, you would imagine, because then you don't have to worry about defending too much, do you? If you've got the overtake done on, say, the penultimate lap or the last lap.
This is just a disastrous time, or will be a disastrous time loss for Elliot Rolls. Thankfully, you can see the benefit already for Fitzsimmons being in front. He's 4 seconds in front of his teammate. That was not the gap when the two of them came out of the pit lane a short time ago. So you can absolutely see why that is so important. AJ Brenner continues to apply the pressure to Sajid Zahir. A little bit wide there through Degner 2 as he comes through, and Callaway's off. Oh, after all that catching, Jaden Callaway. It's a huge mistake. Oh, and he's in the fence. He's in the wall hard, Jaden Callaway, and his season comes to a close. His chances of winning the Grand Prix tonight are over, and Jaden Callaway's slim chances of winning the title this season are gone as he crashes. And Elliot Court now has a clear path to victory in this season. Now, with 1 round to spare, he has a clear path with a victory here tonight to a championship win with a round to spare.
Wow. It's not safe for anybody out there at the moment, isn't it? Even Elliot Court's going to have got a big breathing space. But is he going to just sit back, relax, and just slow down to risk, minimise the risk, of course, of just repeating the exact same thing that happened? We will go back and have a look at the replays. I was seeing that if AJ was getting the overtake done. He's up 9 places at the moment. What a big move there from the North American driver. But here it is. Probably the replay that we don't want to see. I think, oh yeah, it's a back marker.
No way.
Yeah, it's
is that one of his teammates?
I believe it's
Toro Mayorga.
Yeah,
is not on the same team. He's on Inca Salsa Racing. He's on Inca Chips Racing.
So he's trying to get out of the way.
That's one of his teammates.
And
oh my God!
See him when he comes back on the racing line.
I think what he's trying to do is let Court go on the outside of him there before the corner, and he wants to switch sides so that Callaway goes to the inside of him. But it's a complete miscommunication. I mean, what's Callaway supposed to do here?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe he doesn't see him there. The way that he sort of readjusts after contact, maybe you're right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he let one through, of course, which was doing the right thing. He was just trying to get out of the way, you know. So here it is. He gets off the racing line because he knows, obviously, there it is. You know, got to let the race leader through. But then, obviously, did not know, as you can clearly see, because he wouldn't have come back on the racing line. He just would have stayed and just braked a lot sooner and not taken the corner and let them through. I'd have to say it's that.
Wow.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, wouldn't want to be spoiling the party for the two front runners in this race. I just think he just clearly didn't see him.
That is a real shame. Yeah, maybe you're right. The way that he readjusted there, if he did see him, it's a colossal miscalculation of what was going on there.
Let's have a look from his cockpit.
Yeah, that would be a good idea to see sort of how he was thinking about this.
Can't really see the mirrors, but as I say, slows down, let one through, of course, bang. Didn't realise.
Yeah.
They've got to say, didn't Didn't realise Callaway was there.
He does have the look of a driver who doesn't quite know where that second car was. And that has put an end to Jen Callaway's championship winning prospects. And at the moment, Elliott Court looks like he's on his way to a 46-point score at the moment. So that would make... again, I'll say where everybody needs again as far as this championship is concerned. Elliott Rolls needs a top 4. At the moment, that seems a very long way away. This man, Noddy ML, needs a top 3, I think. That would cost him 15 points, but he'd be 48 behind. That'd be quite a lot, as he just went slightly wide there through Spoon Curve a moment ago. Look, he didn't spin through there, to be honest. It's pretty deadly curbs. Top 3 minimum, maybe more for Noddy ML required. Don't forget Fitzsimmons has already been in, so ML might not be in third place quite realistically. Adam Merchant needs to be in second place as things stand, and he is, I think, going to be there. He would lose 9 points, but they would be only 44 back, and that would be okay for Merchant. So Court wouldn't win the title tonight as things stand. The bizarre thing is that with Callaway's crash there, Merchant's gone from not in a championship position there to actually being again in a championship position, albeit over 40 points back before the final race of the season.
Absolutely, as these two are still squabbling, and Sergio's now going to use... No, he's not. That's the end of what Elliott Rolls was using to get the overtake done. He knows he's still got a chance on this one. Remember, they've taken their pit stops. Him and Fitzsimmons, remember, they've taken their second pit stop, so they don't have to go in again. We do assume that a lot of these other drivers have to go in, apart from the one-stoppers that we think of, Noddy there, McAllister, and Robert Nobles. Unless, of course, they're finding some way to stretch it. You've got to think with Elliott Court with such a gap now of 20 seconds. Well, you just literally lift and coast.
I think it might be too late, to be honest. Even now, I think it might be too late, because he came in lap 15 before. That means he'd have to do a 19-lap stint to the end. I think the guys who are trying to do one stop are barely scraping 17, never mind doing another 2 laps on top of that. And when you think he's only really got less than 10 laps to actually start to think about doing that fuel save, I think his bed is well and truly made, and he's not going to be able to get anywhere close.
Has he got enough to cover off Noddy? Is the question. The gap to Noddy's 23 seconds. Yeah. So he might. That's maybe what he's thinking as well too. Because if you lift and coast, you might risk yourself of losing that race because of that one stop strategy. So you probably at this point couldn't afford to lift off. He has to probably just go for it and set fastest laps and then try to cover him off. But there it is. You can see. So it's 23 seconds. We don't have to worry about necessarily covering off to Adam Merchant because we're assuming he's going to come in as well.
Yes, he probably will come in. He's not actually that far in front of Noddy ML, actually, Merchant here, so that's going to be interesting for him. He needs to finish second here if he wants to stay in the game, but that could be ML instead, and that would be a real change around, and that would keep him just about 40 points behind Court, but he would still be involved in the championship fight if that were to be the case at the moment. So ML's got a lot of reason to try and fuel save long enough now to get to that end of the race without stopping again here. Fitzsimmons has made his last stop of the race. He's obviously done 2 stops. At the moment, he's 23 seconds behind ML, so I mean, and Court is nearly 22 seconds in front of Merchant. So I wonder whether he's already actually done enough to pit and stop and get out in front of ML as well, actually, here. Maybe. Or whether that stop is going to cost longer. Or whether Fitzsimmons is just going quickly and he's going to come out in front of ML and Merchant and that lot. That's entirely possible as well.
But good exit from ML too. He's going to be under a bit of pressure here by the time we come down the main straight. It's and that's the thing too. If ML, if you're thinking about fuel saving right now, well, you can't, because he's going to have to defend off Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a winning situation here though. If you're ML, you're not really being slowed down by this. Bianchi's been the one being slowed down, so he's not in a terrible situation by any means, but. He's going to be thinking about that fuel a lot, that's for sure. Here is Rolls versus Brenner. Finally, Elliott Rolls getting past, but look at the gap to his teammate now. Over 6 seconds when they came in absolutely nose to tail. Elliott Rolls' championship chances, slim as they were, are falling away, slipping through his fingers here tonight.
So, what's happened to Merchant there? Did you just... Adam Merchant go off track somewhere?
I think he's slowing down quite dramatically, actually.
Yeah,
he did a 37.2 last time round, which doesn't suggest to me a mistake, just suggests to me a bit of a slowing down, and he's now, behind ML and Bianchi quite considerably.
Yeah, I didn't get anything on the race control messages that popped up here saying there was any off-track incidents or anything, but look at this right now.
Oh, Bianchi didn't go for it.
Yeah.
He didn't go for it, and that's the whole point going to the push to pass, really, but now he's going to get through, and ML is going to let him have it because he'll take the free fuel saving. Thanks very much.
Yeah, actually, that's a good call on that one. But Merchant, just that last lap was a 1:38.79. Elliott Court, to give perspective, 1:35. As we're just trying to fuel saving out there, XGen said. XZen, I mean, 4163. So we're thanks for helping us out at there. We're all trying to crunch the numbers and figure out what's going on. So do you think Merchant's going to say, can he make it go to the end on that one? That means that the rest of the field maybe, as we're seeing AJ come in.
You'd have to do 18 laps, which, after not setting out to fuel save from the start, which is unfathomable, really. I mean, anyway, he was much better off, I think, continuing on with the strategy that he was doing, although he wasn't going to win the race with Elliott Court's speed, or indeed Jaden Callaway's when he was still in the front of the race. I don't think he was going to finish where he currently is at the moment, but there you go. Who knows? He's clearly decided that it is the best thing at the moment, and so Merchant is the only one has gone from the only one who can challenge Court in the championship to being Noddy ML at the moment, or at least it looks like that, because Antonio Bianchi's going to have to stop again, definitely. In fact, I'm expecting it to be at the end of the next lap. Same for Elliott Court, who just set the fastest lap of the race at the front of the field. He's now 28 seconds in front of ML, and I think he's stretching a gap that is going to be good enough to keep him in front of him.
That's why he's pushing, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. There's no fuel saving there. You just set the fastest lap, and he's burning his push to pass as well too. So you wouldn't burn that if you're fuel saving. As some people are out there saying, well, perhaps, as we said before, Merchant might be trying to stretch that out for the one stop, but I don't think for these two drivers, Elliott Court there and Antonio, will it be enough will be the key, as you'd mentioned.
Yeah, it's looking very, very good for Elliott Court now. 4 laps to go at the end of this one. A splash of fuel required. I don't think he will be behind anybody even after his pit stop. I think he is extending an already fairly nice championship lead of 27 points to an almost unassailable gap of just over 50 to most of the contenders, but Noddy ML, I think, is going to be the one who just keeps him close enough to just worry it, well, not worry him maybe, but certainly keep it uncertain going into the final race, which, by the way, is at Watkins Glen, which is not a circuit you want as a championship finale if you're the championship leader. It's pretty unpredictable around there from time to time, as Elliott Court does indeed come into the pit lane.
Yeah, you called it on that. So, will he take tyres? I mean, you wouldn't want to risk taking tyres at this point, will you? Because you haven't got that many laps to go. You just a quick splash and dash. Last pit stop was 7 seconds stationary, so this should be a lot shorter. You'd hope.
Here he comes.
You want to get that perfect too. Don't want to be making any mistakes.
Yep, just a smash, and off he goes again, and they're nowhere near him. So Bianchi and ML are not going to, in fact, Bianchi won't even come onto the straight anyway because he comes into the pit lane. So Noddy ML will get to second, comfortably so as well. And as long as he has fuel saved enough to this point, then he will finish in second place as well, in a championship saving second position as well. He would lose 9 points to Elliott Court at the end of the day. That would put him 42 back at the end of the day, but it would not be quite enough to seal the title for Elliott Court.
Completely had to back up a little bit as Ryan comes in, so that'll cost Bianchi a little bit there. Rolls will get through. Yes, he will just get ahead out there of Elliott Rolls. Now, it's the question. Merchant has got to do some fuel saving. If that's what we just heard out there, he's going for the one stop. He pitted 1 lap after Court and Antonio and stuff did. Those drivers did. 1 lap after. He went lap 16. Those other drivers, I believe, went lap 15. So hey, it's gonna be a stretch, but his last lap, was a 1 minute 40. So it's about 2 seconds lap quicker than most of the field, mate. So that's definitely fuel saving.
That's the worst lap in the top 7 and the second worst in the top 11, which is pretty bad for someone of Merchant's ability. That is a lot of fuel saving from Adam Merchant. I still can't really believe he's actually doing it, but there you go.
Well, he is.
As it stands, he would lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, you got to think about this. There's 10 seconds he's got the gap there to Fitzsimmons, so he can afford to lose 2 seconds of gap. He can afford to lose even more than that at the moment with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, but I think if he'd have stopped, then he'd have been, at this stage in the race, he would be behind Noddy ML, yes, but he would have a chance to race up to the back of him and overtake him in the last parts of the race. In this situation, Merchant is barely clinging on to a podium.
Very true. Plus, it's never fun, isn't it, as a racing driver to basically just be saving fuel because, you want to go flat out. You're a race driver. You just want to go as fast as possible. And plus, don't forget, you're probably throwing the opportunity out of getting that fastest lap point.
Yeah. So Zuhair and Peterson, meantime, is the closest battle out there on the circuit. And here they're coming towards turn number 1. So Zuhair, I don't think he's quite close enough at the moment. These two both came in at lap 16 previously. They've just started lap 32, so you wonder whether this battle will be taken to the pit lane next.
Yeah. That's a good question. See, Fitzsimmons got that gap down to 6.9 now, almost shy of 7. So once again, does he have enough time to catch Merchant? And Merchant might have to be in deep fuel saving, you don't know, on those last couple of laps where he might drop 5 seconds or something like that. Maybe 3 or 4 seconds. We'll see. Nothing Elliott Court has to worry about. And none of Mel. Who has the fastest lap in the race? I think it goes to Court in the moment, doesn't it? So
yeah.
It's the only driver in the 35, 1 minute 35 club.
Yeah, so that's not going to be beaten, I wouldn't imagine. I mean, looking at anybody else to be able to beat that, Fitzsimmons probably the only one who's on a decent speed at the moment, but he's not as quick as Elliott Court tonight, I don't think, which is not particularly great news for anybody trying to beat Court in this championship, of course. As McAllister gets to the back of here, they might all be about to take this battle into the pit lane, actually, although McAllister did 17 laps first time round. I wonder whether he's abandoned that second time round, because he's going pretty quickly at the moment. And we'll see whether he's going to come in with them or stay out there. He's passed Zuhair, though, pretty quickly, who's lifting off, it seems, as well, into the final couple of corners right now. And McAllister carries on. So does Peterson and Zuhair. You wonder whether they are going to maybe at one stop as well, Yeah,
only got 2 laps to go. You might as well just go for it. Otherwise, she's going to lose those track positions. I think McAllister's looking pretty between those drivers because once again he went that 1 extra lap, so he's got a little bit more gasoline, you'd imagine, than the other drivers. But the battle here is still on. It's down to 2.4 now, and look at that. Of course, so you're gonna start using that push to pass Fitzsimmons, mate, because you've only got a couple of laps in. This is the time to be using, because he's got an engineer in his ear. And I think one of his engineers are out there in the chat too, saying, get a move on. P3's up for grabs,
Yeah, it certainly is, because Merchant has absolutely made a mistake here, I think, in his fuel saving. Look how slow he is on the way to the final chicane. Yeah. He's going to lose out on a podium now as well. This is going to be a very disappointing last lap for Adam Merchant, and Finley Fitzsimmons is going to say thanks very much for the place. He's not even going to use all of his push to pass here, Fitzsimmons. He's been using quite a lot of it, saving quite a lot of it for the end of this race, and here he comes now, personal best lap, but Merchant actually using a bit of it to stay in front before the twisty section, where he will now he's still on the button, which is surprising because obviously that burns more fuel.
Maybe he's just saved that little bit for that final attack, who knows. We also had a message, great pace from the bloke on his birthday out there. Happy birthday, Gareth McAllister, who's still trying to get past Nick Peterson at the moment, so that's another battle that's brewing. It's still a bit further there. Maybe I won't start looking at doing that, but we are down to the final stages of this race as well, too. Basically in the last lap, there's your race leader, Just want to quickly switch over before we go back to the race leader, see what Fitzsimmons has got. But once he caught him, it's just difficult to overtake now.
Absolutely. Catching is one thing, passing is another, etc. And that is what Fitzsimmons is experiencing at the moment. However, Elliott Court out front is going to win this race by quite some distance in the end. Despite doing one more pit stop than the driver who's going to finish second, he's going to take this race here tonight. He wins the Ewan Suzuka Invitational Grand Prix here at Suzuka. It's Elliott Court who takes one step closer to a title, but this man will stop him from doing it tonight. Noddy ML comes home second and gives himself an outside chance at Watkins Glen in 2 weeks' time. And further behind, Adam Merchant falls out of contention, although he will be up to third in the championship after this podium finish. The fuel saving was immense at the end of this race, and somehow he keeps Finley Fitzsimmons, despite all that, behind him in the end of this race.
Very impressive, absolutely. I didn't think I could do it as they've just come to Antonio. Elliott rolls. You're kind of wondering what if he needed to be up a lot higher, didn't he, this evening? But there's still a nice little battle here brewing. So apparently the birthday boy trying to get past Nick, trying to hold it past Nick for the Inca Solstice. He'll be the highest speed. This will be a great drive there from McAllister, essentially from last to 8th on this race, and it looks like he will get that one. And not bad too for those drivers on the one-stop strategy as well too, with Nick finishing up behind him.
A good battle between those guys towards the finish. Final top 10 place going to be taken by AJ Brenner, and then the last few will come over the line. Sashi Duhair's a long way down. Pitted on the penultimate lap, I think realised he wasn't going to make it, and so had to recalculate there and had to make another pit stop outside of his own plans. But 12th place finish, that's very disappointing for the driver who came in tonight, 9th place in the championship. He will stay in the top 10 though tonight, even after this result. Well, that is it for 34 laps of racing around here. Exciting as they were, but the result ever so familiar. Not necessarily this season, but in the history of this championship, Elliott Court takes the victory, winning for the second time this season, his 11th top 5 of the season. 8 seconds in front of Noddy ML, who keeps the title fight alive, with Adam Merchant behind in third. Finley Fitzsimmons couldn't quite past him on the line, with Antonio Bianchi in fifth. Elliott Rolls finishes sixth, for a few seconds back from the race sponsor Ryan Tebow, who finishes in 7th place. Gareth McAllister, Nick Peterson and AJ Brenner round out the top 10. It's Jace Meyer and Sashi Duhair who round out the top 12 there, all on the lead lap. Robert Nobles and Xavier Snevi got to the end, one lap down, with Jaden Calloway, Arturo Mayorga, Carlos Balanes, Ricardo Espino and Austin Thomas, rounding out those who retired from this race. Let's have a chat then to Elliott Court, shall we? The race winner tonight by 8 seconds at Suzuka. And Elliott, congrats on the win tonight. Your second only of the season. Extends your championship lead to not quite an unassailable advantage, but certainly a large one going into the last race of the season. How comfortable were you out there tonight? Because it certainly looked like you were at Suzuka.
Yeah, it might have looked like it, but yeah, it definitely wasn't in the cockpit. You know, that fight with Jade at the start, that was pretty intense. But yeah, it's just unfortunate what happened to him. I feel quite bad for him there. But yeah, then the rest of the race, I didn't realise I didn't have enough fuel to make it to the end. So I saw Adam was fuel saving. So I tried to make a big enough gap to pit and come out in the lead, and yeah, so it worked out eventually.
Just how are you feeling about that championship advantage now? I've not done the exact calculation because I feel it will be wrong, but I think it's just over 40 points between yourself and Noddy ML, who I think is the only one who can catch you at this point. Couple of races at Watkins Glen to survive that advantage. How are you feeling about that scenario in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, I mean, anything can still happen, but I think, yeah, at this point, I feel a bit more comfortable now. I think, yeah, I mean, looking good from what I can see.
I understand you don't want to say too much to tempt fate, so that's fine. Congrats tonight on winning here at Suzuka, and thanks for coming to chat to us at the end as always.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks very much. That is Elliott Court, who wins tonight, putting himself into a great championship position. Just 8 seconds in front of the rest of the field. We'll just hang on for a moment to see if anybody else joins us. But Biggles, tonight, the final of the one race evenings, and it was a one-man show after Jaden Calloway's unfortunate demise. We can shout the what-ifs forever, I suppose, but you do really wonder what would have happened in this race if Callaway hadn't been taken out in that incident, because those two were running so close up until that point.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That would have been a good finish. It would have definitely kept Elliott on his toes, that's for sure. And perhaps, that a situation with using some of that push to pass would have been, like especially maybe used a little bit more. Who's going to use it towards the end of the race and stuff like that. But once again, it's unfortunately that what-if situation because of the incident with Callaway. Hopefully everything's all fine with Toro because, I'm sure Toro's probably apologised and said, look, my bad, I didn't see you, mate. I was trying to let Cord out of the way and I didn't realise you were so close. I probably would deem that to be the situation. And I'm sure Callaway would just take away from that, go, it's a racing incident and it happens. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Absolutely. Well, a couple of other drivers have just popped themselves in the booth while we're waiting there, so we'll quickly wrap them up before we go. Finley Fitzsimmons, first of all, 4th place tonight. Finn, welcome in. Good to have you with us. You were chasing down Adam Merchant towards the end there, but couldn't quite get there. Just how close do you feel that was? How many other laps do you feel you needed there?
Well, it was so close. He was saving fuel right until our last lap, and genuinely went on to there. I'm thinking, right, I've got it. He's going to lift and coast into the heavy braking zones. I've got him. But then he just went straight out the park and just got me to 8/10ths, and that was it. We committed to the 2-stop thinking that people wouldn't be able to stretch it. Of course, Adam and Doddy managed to do it somehow. So, fair play to them. But we evaluate what we did wrong. But I think overall execution with what we had was pretty good.
In terms of this race for yourself and Elliott Rolls in this one, you seem to be. I don't know if this is true or not. You can tell us. It seemed to me as if you were almost working together at some stage, or at least communicating in some form to try and get the best result for the both of you. Obviously, you ended up quite a few seconds up the road compared to him in the end. But how much communication was there, especially in that final pit stop where it felt very coordinated between the two of you?
Yeah, so it was kind of the plan to do the short stop in the middle, but I refueled all the way, so we didn't really gain much advantage from it with the low fuel load. So basically the whole race we were running on heavy fuel. He managed to go on the lower fuel load, so we stayed close for quite a while. There's a bit of communication on, I think, the first or the second lap where he basically let me pass and I carved the gaps for him, and we managed to get through Antonio and Noddy. Of course, Noddy managed to stretch it to the 1 stop in the end, but we're trying our hardest because he's not mathematically out of it, but he was second in the championship going to this race. So it was all about trying to do the God's work for him. Yeah.
Well, congrats tonight on getting to 4th place yourself either way. And of course, good team points as well, which we'll probably talk about a bit more next week. But congrats on that tonight. And we'll see you again in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you very much, mate. Have a good one.
Thanks very much. Finley Fitzsimmons, 4th place tonight, in front of his teammate Elliott Rolls, who also joins us now. Elliott, welcome in. Good to have you with us. 6th place for you tonight. Were you stuck in the traffic in those early points of the race, or were you a bit uncomfortable around this circuit? I couldn't quite tell, really, or read your race very well in those first 15 laps. What was really going on inside the car for you?
Struggling massively with the traffic, man. Like, I'm comfortable enough on the track, but the dirty air is just absolute killer on this track. Can't do anything.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. It certainly looked like it as well through that first sector. What do you make of your season now? I think Noddy ML and maybe Adam Merchant as well will be at the very least near you, if not overtaking you after tonight's race. Maybe back to 4th position, which is still a great season as it were. But how are you feeling about that situation now with just 1 round to go?
I'm still fairly happy with it, to be completely honest with you, mate. Like, going from a bunch of seasons where I did not crack the top 10 in points to, getting wins, podiums on the regular. Well, no wins on the regular, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
But being at the front, sharp end of the field on, consistent basis, I'm very happy with it. Obviously, I hope to contend for the championship harder next season, but yeah.
Yeah, 2/3 of the races, by the way, top 5s, which is very good consistency as well. Although tonight wasn't one of those. 2/3 of the races is a very, very good record, and you've still got a chance of getting to second in the season either way. So, of course, in 2 weeks' time. So, it's been a great season so far. Congrats on that, of course, but there's still 1 round to go. We look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks' time.
Before I go, I'd like to give a massive thanks to my race engineer, Norman King, who's sat in the broadcast waiting room down there. All sad for himself. I'd like to give him a big thanks. And yeah, Thank you very much. See you in 2 weeks, I think. Sounds
Yes.
about
Yes,
right,
2 weeks.
yeah. Bye-bye.
See you. Thanks very much, Elliot Rolls. 6th place here tonight, and of course a very good team atmosphere as well there. As I mentioned, we will talk a little bit more about the points. MSR Purple are a little bit behind as a were a little bit behind at the start of tonight, but with only Merchant here tonight, and Merchant getting not beaten by Fitzsimmons, but very, very close. It's still going to be relatively close between those two in the championship. So we'll update you on all of that, and of course the drivers' points and everything else when we come back in 2 weeks' time. But don't come back next week expecting a race. It's US Thanksgiving, so all of you in that part of the world go and enjoy that. We'll be back with the Minimum Performance Grand Prix presented by MSR Performance. Sponsored by Norman King, who we were just hearing about there from the Watkins Glen International Circuit. So I very much hope you can join us then for the final race of the season in this League Zero Super Formula Championship. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Biggles until we see you in 2 weeks' time for that final race of the season. It's goodbye for now.